Hey guys, Janus here. As promised, today I'm going to talk about ways to get the absolute most out of your Angion Method sessions. Number one on the list, the same can be said for bodybuilding, aerobic exercise, or really any fitness endeavor. Clean eating beforehand. This means avoiding meals that you know are going to interfere with vasodilation. We're talking foods that are high in sodium, sugar, deep fried options, or heat damage, oil laden foods, which would fit in that same category. Not using caffeine in any form because that is going to interfere with vasodilation, though I suppose with skeletal muscle it can cause the exact opposite, but with male sexual organs it's going to cause vasoconstriction, a pretty strong vasoconstriction. It's going to interfere with getting in that effective session. And the next would be, of course, opting for a lighter plant-based option for any pre-workout meals. Personally, I like to go with something that's dark, leafy greens, throw in a little bit of oatmeal for the carbs, and then anywhere from 5 to 10 grams of either arginine or L-citrulline. I really, really love that, and I try to get that in about 20 to 30 minutes before a session. Kind of let it settle in my stomach for a little bit, start to digest, and start opening things up. Next big tip here, do a bit of pre-workout cardio. Nothing fancy. Personally, I like to do a little bit of recumbent bike work, maybe play my video games a little bit while I'm doing that, like I mentioned in that cardio video, and then maybe go around, once or twice on my block, just to kind of get a general full body bit of cardio. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up your arteries so that way you can have an even better post-flaccid hang and even more accessory, endothelial cell channel activation, that endothelial ultrastructure which really needs to be activated to kickstart the arteriogenesis process. Then once I've got to the workout portion, I use tactics very similar to bodybuilding with rep and set dynamics. At the beginning of the workout, say if I'm doing the Vassion, I start out a bit slower, waiting for my body to respond with an increase in vasodilation in response to shear stress. I'll set my pace at about 1/3 to even a quarter of my max speed, and I'll do that for about 5 minutes or so, depending on how I'm feeling that day. If I'm a little sluggish, I'll actually make it twice that long and do that initial portion for about 10 minutes or so. Then once I can tell that my arteries are really starting to open up and really getting ready to go because my erections have gotten noticeably thicker and more full, I'll start metaphorically putting rubber to the road and increasing my pace from there. At this point, I'll usually bump up to about half speed for 5 minutes, then go full speed for 5 minutes, and then back down to half pace for another 5 minutes. And then at the very end, I'll do the last 5 minutes at full speed. And what this is going to equal is about a 25 to 30 minute session, not including, the extra time for getting comfortable or relubing to keep friction down. Using the Angion methods and getting in a good workout goes right back to my discussions centering around arteriogenesis. What we ultimately want to have happen is for our supporting arteries to increase their internal diameter, thus increasing the size and functionality of our distal capillary beds. For that to happen, not only must we keep shear stress up in a workout session to spur that remodeling process, we must also take care to eat in a manner that is protective of our glycocalyx and endothelial cells, since these two important blood vessel components drive that very same remodeling process through shear stress sensing, that would be the glycocalyx, subsequent nitric oxide release, that would be endothelial cells, and then eventual outward migration, yet again endothelial cells, to help redirect the proliferating smooth muscles in our vascular walls away from its center. So, talking real quick here at the end, what exactly does arteriogenesis look like from the outside? From an observer's point of view, what exactly does that remodeling process look like? As I've spent more time experimenting with the Angion methods and taking stock of my bodily responses, I've noticed that the arteries visible along the top side of my shaft will go through cycles of apparent inflammation post-session where they will be quite larger visually speaking, and yet my pulse when felt for will be no greater than normal. In fact, in some cases, it will actually be a bit reduced. If we step back for a moment and consider that heightened shear stress along the central channel of a blood vessel can dramatically increase endothelial ultrastructure activation, then these post-session instances of visually increased blood vessel sizes, despite the same or even a reduced amount of blood flow passing through them, would then become a hallmark of arteriogenesis. What this means, guys, is that blood vessels work in a fashion near identical to, say, our muscles in that they too can experience a pump, as in an increased fullness in the days following a workout session. If you have any experiences similar to my own, post them in the comments section below. Well guys, that's it for this video. As usual, next week will be the Q&A portion. I expect a few questions will center around possible gaining cues or requests for more information on arteriogenesis and blood vessel fullness. Just a heads up, I'm already planning on talking a bit more about all of that, but if there are a lot of comments and requests concerning illustrations for arteriogenesis, you might be able to twist my leg and get me to include them. Just a heads up though, that will make the video a good bit longer since, I'm going to have to go into a bit more detail. And lastly guys, as usual, I'll see everyone next Sunday, and I'm your host, Janus, signing off.